Right everyone, it is Finn here and welcome to my European World Cup qualification prediction video where of course today we're going to be talking about the 6 games you see on screen right now. As you guys can see, these are the semi-finals for the European World Cup qualifiers and there are some big matchups to talk about in today's video, and along with that of course we don't just have the ice cream here, the little treat for you guys, but we also have a cherry on top because I'm also going to be talking about the World Cup qualification finals. So for example, as you see these 6 games right here, the winners will obviously play against each other. We're going to be talking about those games as well in today's video. So for example, the winner of Italy versus North Macedonia will play the winner of Portugal versus Turkey. We're going to be talking about that game. The winner of Scotland versus Ukraine versus the winner of Wales versus Austria, and of course the winner of Sweden versus Czech Republic versus the winner of Russia versus Poland, which of course will be Poland because Russia have been disqualified due to, well, things. I don't know if you've heard about it. There's kind of a war going on at the moment. But of course, we're going to be talking about those 6 games and, as I said, along with the winners playing against each other. All of that in today's video. Now, of course, it is quite a mouthful and it is going to be quite a lengthy video if I don't hurry things up. So jumping straight into the predictions. Obviously, game number 1 I'm going to be talking about is going to be Wales versus Austria. Now, of course, looking at Wales versus Austria, I feel like on paper, these two teams are very, very similar. But one serious doubt I have at the moment is the fact that, well, Wales have an injury or two. Obviously, in the goalkeeper position, they are missing Leicester City goalkeeper Danny Ward, who was brilliant, obviously, in the Euro competition, but has picked up an injury, but it's not a total train smash, as Wales still have the likes of Wayne Hennessy between their goalkeeper posts. Obviously, another major injury for them is the fact that they will be missing their striker, Kiefer Moore. Now, of course, once again, not a total train smash. Wales have some brilliant attackers up front, but as we saw at the Euros, in terms of heading ability and in terms of a big physical striker up front, he will be missed as he has fractured his foot recently.
Well, this sucks.
Not a fun time to be having, but it could be quite costly versus this Austrian team because Austria at the moment seem to have their best players for this competition. As we've seen, Alaba, obviously, although Real Madrid have slipped up from time to time this season, at the end of the day, they're still having a good season. Alaba's been an absolutely brilliant player, has obviously kind of converted to that centre-back position from a full-back position. He's really adapted well. Obviously, Sabitzer, maybe not making the impact I thought he would have at Bayern Munich, but once again, still a top player. Obviously, Arnautovic, I think Arnautovic has had an absolutely brilliant season in terms of World Cup qualifiers already. I think it's like 5 goals and 3 assists in 5 games. He's gotten 9 goals for Bologna so far in Serie A. I think looking at Austria, they might be the better team compared to Wales, which does hurt me to say because I do like this Welsh team. But I do think looking at these two teams, team by team, I might just have to give it to Austria, and I think they will beat Wales. Saying that though, obviously Wales have Ramsey and Gareth Bale back for a fixture like this. Obviously 2 star teams always injured for their clubs. For some reason they probably spend more time in their medical rooms or Gareth Bale on the golf course. Sorry, I know that's a long run joke, but obviously Gareth Bale once again has a huge impact for Wales when he plays for them. 3 goals and 3 assists in 5 World Cup qualifier games. Ramsey 3 goals and 4. So obviously, I mean, it genuinely could go either way, but I do think Austria will take this one. Jumping straight into our next game, obviously, we've got Scotland versus Ukraine, which, oops, sorry, didn't mean to click on that, but obviously this is a game that has been postponed to a later stage. Obviously, with the war and everything going on at the moment, it's not a main priority for them. I think it will be played in June, more or less, and as that is so far away, I don't really feel like I can give an accurate prediction to this. I do think Ukraine have an absolutely brilliant team. Obviously, Yarmolenko has been performing well, and he always seems to do well for Ukraine. Obviously, they've got a bunch of other stars. Obviously, Bushchan between the posts, and as I said, so many other stars. But if I had to be honest here, and I don't want to give pity points because Ukraine deserve better than that, I do feel like Scotland could take a win over them. I do feel like at later stages, obviously I'll re-predict this closer to the time because it's not fair to do it now. But I do think if the game was to be played right now or whenever it is played, I do like Scotland's chances. I do think they've got a brilliant team. They've got brilliant individuals who are all doing well in their respective leagues. But as we know with the Scotland international team, it's about can they play well together. Shea Adams has had a good season. I think Armstrong's had a relatively good season. Obviously Scott McTominay always seems to boss in the midfield or defense. wherever he plays for Scotland, obviously McGinn and so many other brilliant players. And as I said, going to be close, but I do think Scotland can take this one whenever it ends up being played. As I said, I know it's a bit unfair right now, but that's my feeling. And obviously that would take Scotland versus Wales or Scotland versus Austria in that first final, in that first heat right there. And obviously, as I said, tremendous final. Only one of those teams can make it through to the competition. Only one of them can qualify for the World Cup. And between Scotland and Austria, I do think it could be such an entertaining game to watch. But as I said, as we know, Scotland, although some brilliant individuals, they don't always play well as a team. I really do like them. I do like Scotland more than Austria. Maybe that's because I have a few friends from Scotland. Big up Dugout Football Channel, obviously. But if I had to look at both of these two teams, I might just have to go for Austria. Obviously, as I said, going to be a close game, but I do think Austria will qualify for the competition. Heading into our second kind of set, obviously, we've got Russia versus Poland and Sweden versus Czech Republic. Obviously, Russia versus Poland. Poland have automatically made it through because Russia have been disqualified, so we don't have to talk about that game if Poland have already made it through. But of course, we also have Sweden versus Czech Republic. Now, Sweden is such a kind of tricky team to predict at the moment. Obviously, looking at them, Alexander Isak, obviously one of the top strikers in the league last season. He was brilliant at the Euros, but he hasn't quite hit the mark so far this season. Only 4 goals in the Liga, although he always does well for his national team. I think he's got 4 in 8 World Cup qualifier games, so he's so unpredictable at the moment. But saying that, I don't think Sweden rely on him up front. They've got some brilliant options. Obviously, they've got Kuleveski, if that's how you pronounce it. Obviously, the winger for Tottenham Hotspurs, who is loving Premier League life at the moment. Obviously, 2 goals and 4 assists in 9 Premier League games, where if you look at Isak, as I said, only 4 so far. So even if Isak isn't performing, I do think they'll be okay. Along with that, obviously the likes of Elanga from Manchester United been performing well. He's been added to the squad. Obviously Forsberg for RB Leipzig, he's been brilliant this season. I don't think Sweden are short of talent by any means, and I actually think they could take it over Czech Republic. Look, once again, don't get me wrong, as we know, Czech Republic is a serious dark horse kind of team. People expected them to go far at the Euros, or even people who didn't were surprised by how far they could go. Obviously, as we know, they've got brilliant players in their team. They've got Sufal, they've got Suchek, they've got so many brilliant players. But the fact that they are missing Thomas Schick, their main man up front with 20 goals in 20 Bundesliga games this season. What a brilliant striker. It's just so sad that he's kind of overshadowed by Robert Lewandowski, but saying that, it is the Robert Lewandowski League at this point in terms of the Golden Boot. So in fact, they might as well just rename the Golden Boot the Robert Lewandowski Boot. But saying that, obviously been a brilliant striker, and as we saw in terms of the actual goals, in terms of actual goal scoring, Czech Republic did rely on Patrick Schick in the Euros, and without him versus Sweden, obviously he has picked up an injury or he has picked up an illness. Versus Sweden, without their man up front, I think Sweden can advance to the next stage of the competition, and I think Zlatan Ibrahimovic will be very happy about that. As I said, all of these games are tremendously close, but I do think Sweden will take it. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, obviously they'll take us to Poland versus Sweden in the next round of the competition. As I said, looking at Poland, once again, I would say a lot like Scotland. For example, a team with brilliant individuals, but they don't always play well at tournaments. Although Robert Lewandowski, obviously a player I just mentioned, plays for Poland. Absolutely brilliant striker, but doesn't always deliver on an international level to what almost Poland need in terms of their support. As I said, I think they've got a brilliant team, but if I had to be honest, Poland versus Sweden, I do think Sweden can make it. I do think Sweden have the better team at the moment, and I do think that they will be able to beat Poland, and they'll be the second team to qualify for the final of the competition. Now, of course, that takes us to our final set of games, as we have Italy versus North Macedonia and Portugal versus Turkey. Now, of course, let's talk about the easier game first with Italy versus North Macedonia. Now, I'll say the easier one because Italy would be strong favorites. Obviously, they got 3rd place in the Nations League competition, and of course, they won Euro 2020. So versus North Macedonia, obviously, think Italy will win. But obviously saying that, I mean, they've had a few funny results since the Euros. They haven't won games where they thought they would. Obviously, they drew a few funny games. So Italy, I mean, they could lose points here or there, especially because looking at North Macedonia, once again, I thought their goalkeeper was brilliant at the Euros. Obviously, we know that they've got a few stars playing around Europe who have potential to play tremendously well. But obviously, as I said, looking at Italy, especially because they just won the Euros, I am going to have to give it to them. They are obviously the better team. Now, obviously, looking at maybe one of the biggest games or the most highly anticipated games of the World Cup qualifiers, we've got Portugal versus Turkey. Now, of course, the win of this, let's say Portugal win this one, it'll go to Portugal versus Italy in the final, and only one of those teams to be able to qualify for the World Cup. That is so tremendously strange to think one of these two top teams won't make it. But that, of course, is if Portugal can qualify versus Turkey, and I'd say a big if at this point in time. Yes, in general, Portugal are a far better team than Turkey. But of course, looking at Portugal at the moment, they obviously don't have Ruben Dias, he is out. The likes of Cancelo is suspended. Nicolas Pepe got COVID. Obviously, I think a weird selection was the fact that they didn't pick Jose Sa as at least a backup goalkeeper, considering, in my opinion, he's been within the top 3 goalkeepers in the Premier League this season. Obviously, Ruben Neves, they say, won't be able to play. Obviously, Nelson Semedo won't be able to play. And there are big talks that maybe Cristiano Ronaldo will be out with illness. Obviously, that hasn't been confirmed yet. At the moment, it looks like Ronaldo might still be able to play. But of course, those are big names missing for Portugal. But saying that, one thing that does work in their favour is the fact that they've got so much depth in this international team. Even if they were missing someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, they've still got the likes of Silva up front, the RB Leipzig striker. They've still got João Felix, who's been brilliant in the second half of the season for Atletico Madrid so far. So Portugal, once again, not totally out of it. They've got so much depth in the squad. But saying that, it is a fully fit Turkish team or Turkey team. And looking at Turkey, they haven't been in bad form as of late in terms of their national team. No, they didn't quite live up to the hype, obviously, at the Euros, but ever since then, in World Cup qualification games, they haven't been too bad. So Turkey versus Portugal, it is obviously a mammothly big game, and it is not easy to predict a winner. But as I said, knowing that how much quality is in this Portuguese team, I do think Portugal will be able to take it. Once again, no offense to anyone from Turkey or any Turkish international team fans. Nothing bad against you. I do genuinely think it could go either way, so don't get me wrong. But I do think Portugal still might be able to scrape a win. And that, of course, takes us to our final game, with it being Portugal versus Italy. Now, obviously, that is a tremendously huge game. Now, obviously, I think João Cancelo will at least be back for that game. But of course, Portugal versus Italy, it is so tremendously hard. Now, of course, Italy don't have the likes of Balotelli in their squad, obviously not selected for the set of games. But looking at Italy at the moment, they've just got so many brilliant players, and it's so weird to think Portugal obviously won the previous Euros, or they won Euro 2016. Obviously, Italy won Euro 2020, so 2 previous Euro winners going head to head, and only one can make it. Could we really see a World Cup without Cristiano Ronaldo? It's just mental to think about, especially because at the next World Cup, he'll be 41 years old. So of course, Portugal versus Italy, it is so tremendously big. And as much as I want Cristiano Ronaldo to go to the World Cup, I think the world always wants Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi at the World Cup. At the end of the day, if I had to be honest to myself, I do think Italy are the better team, and that's just a sad reality. I hate to say it, but I don't think Ronaldo is going to the World Cup. I am going to go for Italy, and I think Italy will be the final team going to World Cup 2022 out of the European team. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for my European World Cup qualification videos. That is it. The 3 teams I think will make it through this stage and will qualify for the World Cup includes the likes of, who did I choose? Italy, Sweden, and someone else did I say? Austria. I think that those are the teams I went for. So yeah, I think those three will make it through to the next stage. As I said, these predictions weren't easy. There are tremendously big games to talk about. But as I said, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But guys, don't forget, obviously, like a Sam Allardyce, leave a big fat like down below. And of course, subscribe if you're not subscribed and you like regular football content, whether it be predictions, analysis-based videos, anything like that, I've got you covered. And of course, if you want me to do South American predictions, which I'm very kind of drawn towards, and of course African predictions, let me know in the comment section down below. But guys, this has been Finn, FYNN. We might not see the GOAT at World Cup 2022. Crazy times, but ladies and gentlemen, this has been Finn, FYNN. I'll see you next time. Cheers.